So now I'm Wildicha. Thank you for watching, and this is another video which I thought would be meaningful to uh, to prepare and share with everyone. It's a common question that I often get from students, and I find that it should be interesting to share with everyone. Hi once again. So I'm Wildicha, and I'm from Singapore, and here I'd like to share some of my experiences as a hiring manager, and I think it's absolutely essential for uh, students, out there to understand some of those do's and don't do's, right? So at least you optimize the chances of making through your, your job interview, right? Okay, let me start with myself. So in the past few jobs I had been, working, which I had previously, I often had a secondary role to my main job. My main job was to be the head of finance, and my secondary role tended to include administrative work like hiring, recruitment, but more specifically for finance staff, right? So I often have this dilemma like, who do I hire or who do I pick? Because everyone look good. I won't say that there are people that look bad, but most people look uh, very suitable for the job. But unfortunately, like in all things in economics, there is always limited supply, and there is unlimited demand. So in this case, there is limited supply of jobs, but then unlimited demand for the jobs. So it was thus very necessary, I mean, even like uh, at least whether it was hiring for finance staff or other functions. An issue I had to to contend with is who to pick. Everyone seems just as eligible, right? It feels very wrong to pick maybe A over B, and maybe I should have picked B instead of A. No right answer to that, but also over the my years of working as head of finance, I also have accumulated certain questions that I would like to ask, right? So that I can get to know the candidates better, right? Bear in mind, when you apply for a job, uh, there will be certain things that interviewers will ask, and each interview has a slightly different style. Like myself, my style of asking questions are quite different from others. I ask questions not so much to have model answers, right? That's not my purpose, right? My main objective is really to have questions where there are no fixed answers. The answers can be anything. It literally can be anything under the sky. So, and with these such open-ended questions, that's where candidates get a chance to demonstrate how interested they are in the job, and they are able to show, like why they should be entitled to the job. Okay, so there is indeed a list of questions, but without model answers to it. Right. So if you're looking for a job and you always have this query like, do interviewers have a set of model answers that they're looking for? It really depends. For myself, at least, I don't care about model answers because that's not the primary concern, right? So what do we look for? Who do we look for? Do we look for young candidates, fresh out of school? Do we look for people who are, who have low pay expectations? Or do we look for people who are willing to work, day and night, work over the weekend, and have some overtime from day to day? What do we look for? What are those things that we pay attention to? In fact, these few things. Okay, these are not exhaustive, but some of the key things. Okay, and in no priority of importance. One is attitude, and the other is character. Now, why attitude? My ex-bosses and I, we always feel that with even if someone is lowly qualified, maybe illiterate, doesn't have much qualifications, but with the right attitude, no matter how bad the person is or how poorly qualified person is, they can improve over time. And however, on the other hand, if people have bad attitude, no matter how many chances you give, they will never improve, right? So attitude is very important, and it's one of those things that is very hard to observe during that half an hour or so interview. Not very easy. All right, and it's often a test of how good we are in judging character. And finally, it also depends much on luck, like who are the candidates that we come across and how sincere these candidates are. Are they sincere enough to have caught our attention at a certain point in time? Now, next thing is the character, right? Yes, attitude is important, but character is another important element. Character as in, not cheating, having good values like integrity. These are important, because a candidate without integrity is bound to cheat and lie very often, and that would affect the longer term work relationship. So that was something that we were very concerned with. Now, how do we catch and identify whether people have both attitude and character? Okay, one of the tests we did was we asked whether these people are married or not. Okay, by the way, this is by no means the absolute indication of whether a person is mature or otherwise. Okay, but we realized that there seems to be a certain trend or correlation between maturity and whether a person is married or otherwise. If they are married, high chance, okay, not always, there is a relatively high chance that they should be a lot more stable, right, and should be a lot more reliable to do the job. Right? They will be more committed to a large extent, because after all, people who are married and if they have children, they tend to be more committed to the job because they need to bring home money to feed the children. So that's my viewpoint. But of course, there are other cases where people are married, but then they prove to be quite of another different kind of species. Shall not comment on that, but yeah, I looked for that at one point in time. I like to look at people's age and what drives them to apply for the job. Yes, and one of the questions I like to ask is, why do you need to look for a job? Why are you interested in this job? What is the purpose of bringing home an income? So I ask questions like this. I try to probe, right? And but again, it's by no means a perfect solution to understand more about the candidate, right? Okay, now what's very important when you have an interview is that you have to be very honest about yourself. Let's say if I'm the interviewer, you have to be very honest about what you can do, what you can't do, what kind of person you are. Don't forget, if you lie a lot and if you're not very honest during the interview, if the candidate ever gets discovered by the interviewer, there's a high chance that the interviewer will never give the candidate any more chances, right? Now, of course, if you're not very honest and if you happen to get the job, now many things will happen. If later on the interviewer realizes that you have been cheating, but he, by some reason have given you the job opportunity, that would be a very bad omen, right? So try not to lie about what you can do and what you can't do. And, even overstating to some extent is not so acceptable. Good dress sense. I think generally, in Singapore, when I conduct interviews, I have no problems with people dressing up properly. Dress sense is important. And then the tone of voice is also important. Sound enthusiastic and sound very keen for the job. That's important. I don't sound like you just woke up from bed. That's not very good. I don't like to talk to people who just got up from bed and then they sound like they have no idea what they're talking about. Not very good. Now, and be very forthcoming with your expectations. Why? Your employer wants to work with you, and an employer hopes that you can have a partnership with you for the long term. Now, don't forget, if you're not very honest about your expectations, it's very hard for the interviewer to understand your expectations and try to have a alignment. And don't forget, interviewers can't read your mind. You have to let them know about your expectations as well. At least these should be reasonable, not excessive. Talk more about your personal attitude and attributes, right? Don't forget interviewers like myself last time. We're trying to understand who are our candidates, how good they are, how suitable they are for the job. We want to know a lot. I was very conscientious about this and was insistent to know more about the candidate. Show the willingness and enthusiasm to learn. You'll be surprised that, nowadays, at least in Singapore, when I was a hiring manager at the time, I tended to see candidates that are like not too motivated. They are, don't seem very keen to get a job. They seem more keen to spend their days partying, drinking, whatever it is, right? So that's important because as a as a job seeker, employers don't want to hire people who are less willing, less enthusiastic to get the job, right? Worse still, the candidate complains and whines a lot about that previous employer. That's no good too, right? So what fails? Now what fails is that you have not shown enough confidence. Now it is fine that you do not know about maybe certain things required by the job, but make sure that you're confident, because interviewers want to be sure that if I give you, even if you do not know, you'll find a way to go around it. You have confidence to do it. That's good. Not knowing what you're in for. Now, every 10 over candidates that we come across, at least 1 or 2 have no idea what they're doing. No idea what's the environment. Wow. Right. Prefer not to be the case. Candidates should have already done their homework to know more about the organization. They shouldn't wait for the interview to happen and learn from the interviewer. They should have found out earlier on. And you need to show more interest, as a candidate. Show more interest with regards to the job, rather than just asking about the pay, right? The benefits. These are not very healthy, because these show that, it shows a lot of inclination towards pay, right? Not that good at all. Okay, so in fact, the final most important thing is actually luck. Having the luck also matters too. Because without luck, it can be very difficult, right? You never know. Right, so that's the some of my experience as a hiring manager, and I shared with you some of those things that I looked for, and I think those are very relevant. Interviews today will also be asking for the same, right? Especially job commitment. That's important. All right, so that's my few words. Hope that you enjoyed it, and have a good day, right? So be sure that you prepare yourself well before you go for an interview. Don't forget, there is google.com where you can get more news about the prospective employer, right? Until then, look forward to share with you more in the coming days to come, right? Have a great day. Thank you.